Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever, wherever that you may be tuning in. This is Yonks, and this is now day 5 of pre-launching AI Agents.box. And we're positioning this as the on-chain community for AI, really leaning into the AI agents narrative that's going to be unfolding. I really believe that AI agents is going to be one of the biggest talking points from a technology standpoint, if not the biggest talking point in 2025. And very excited to have Ernest again with us here. Also, Tyler, my superpower, and also joined with us is Mark Law 01. If you would like to do a real quick intro, over to you, Mark.
Okay, nice to meet you all. My name is Mark Lawrence, Mark Law 01. I've got a background in helping sort of Fortune 500 companies use traditional technologies for competitive advantage, but at the same time, looking at newer technologies, Web3, AI agents, to see what's coming along and then make those new technologies easier to use for regular people who often get left behind. And so we've been working with people in some developing countries in terms of tokenizing natural resources and real world assets. And we see that AI agents can play a big role in this in 2025.
Yeah, and if I understood what the CEO, and just to amplify that, the CEO of Microsoft basically said that software as we know it is going to die and transition to agency functionality. And when you think about that from like one of the top three or whatever, top five software companies in the world, that's a real bold statement about the value proposition that AI agents are going to create and the disruption that they're going to bring forward. So this is our office hours. We're going to be hosting this office hours here the same time tomorrow and Friday or Sunday. Today is Friday as we conclude our first week of our 180-day live stream challenge. And I'm not going to break that down. It's here in the Google Docs. I'll likely create a breakout video to just unpack that a little bit more. But one of the things I collapsed, we're heavily using document tabs here within this Google Docs to better organize this. And one of the things that I want to talk about is our Charmverse, one of the places that we're going to be having a more permanent in our Charmverse space. We're positioning this as our DAO portal. Right now, like if I go to an incognito window, let's see, AI agents.box. This is what this will look like if you go to collab.aiagents.box. And if you click on the sign up button, we've currently got this set up, and I don't have the workflow right now, but to use a wallet, and this is something too, Mark, if you will throw, you probably had to use your wallet whenever you RSVP, but whatever wallet that you would like to use for, we will airdrop you our pre-launch NFT team via Hats Protocol. I'm going to go there real quick. Hats Protocol. And this is one of the fun ways that we will be exploring on-chain technology. And just a real quick, are you familiar with Hats, Mark?
No, I'm not.
So you mentioned working with organizations. This basically is like provides on-chain org chart combined, and then you think about like in organizations, people have different roles. Like right now, we're talking about the pre-launch team, and this is where we can add some different role sorts of functionality. And one of the functionality things is just with its inherent NFT. It's a ERC 1155. We can add a token gate here in Charmverse where somebody can use that. And the nice thing, like you can see on my Charmverse, I'm in several different, like one of our investment clubs that we are launching here in Colorado is We Own Club of Colorado. We did a launch party for that, and you can see some of the other, like I'm in the Hats protocol community as well as the Unlock, and we will also be using Unlock for representing a proof of membership. One of the things that we're going to be doing, and I haven't done that yet, that's on my to-do list, but I'm planning to do that via a other video, breakout video. But one of the things here on the office hours, just to kind of put this forward, is we really use this as kind of like a brainstorming session, and it's a great opportunity for people to bounce in and out and stuff like that. But one of the things, I collapsed all of these tabs here. Under progress, we're currently in week two. I mentioned this is day 5, day 6, and day 7 will be Saturday and Sunday. So what I'm wanting to do now is to create a I'm going to rename this new tab to Teams. And one of the reasons here, if you wonder why I capitalize team, I'm a huge fan of the acronym Together, Everyone Achieves More. And that's one of the things that we're fully expecting with AI agents and a network effect that we can create, that will amplify the value proposition for the network effect creation. So one of the teams that we will be creating and having conversations this very weekend about is a new agent brand that Tyler and I are going to be leading conversations around. And we're going to call this ecosystem brand My IRA Fund. And this is one of the problems that we're wanting to solve for ourselves. I'm not going to unpack that, but I'm gonna just add a couple quick bullet points here under next actions. Yonks will create lettuce meet for our first pre-launch office hours #1 on Saturday, the 11th of January, 2025, plus #2 on Sunday. Uh, and this is something that we believe we can create a minimum viable product very, very quickly. So I'm not going to unpack that. So again, I'll circulate that via our Telegram. That's one of the primary channels that we're using right now. But I'm going to just stop talking and let everybody just chime in some thoughts as far as where we're at here today with day 5 of our office hours. Before I do that, I just want to summarize one of the things that we discussed. One of the things here, Ernest, let's work on getting some branding. I'm quite okay with using this for our day 4 NFT, unless you wanted to think of like creating another one with Charmverse or some kind of integration. But that's another thing that we're going to be doing is creating a daily blog post, and that's one of the things that is still looming action item, but we're going to take most of those conversations offline. But where I was wanting to go with this is we're wanting to create, and I think I moved that over here to content. Let's see where it's at. And let me see.
I I got
Go
I got
for it, Ernest.
I got today's blog post covered with about my errors uh so far and where I'm at with installing Eliza and then how that relates to this project. I'll probably have that done in about an hour. Um
Fabulous.
and I dropped the image in the chat. Um I'm branding all my stuff with platypuses right now. I think it's been really interesting to see what the AIs come up with when I give it prompts for images with platypuses because platypus is such a weird creature. It like the AI is really giving me a broad spectrum of different ways to do platypuses. So that's just what I've been doing here recently with the branding of stuff that I've been trying to create and then want to move through this community.
Nice. And on the screen here, just to change gears and direction, this is a super fresh, and this is I just pulled this from the resources and videos. Nader at Daybit3 just did his 3rd agent demo days earlier today. I didn't have an opportunity to watch that live because was spinning up some IP around my IRA fund. But anyway, how are you feeling, Ernest, with how things are coming along? I mean, I feel like this week has been a whirlwind already, but I think that we're laying a solid community foundation. But I'm going to stop talking and let you chime in your thoughts from where you're at.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe how much I've learned and the fact that I'm getting Chat GPT to help me with coding. I have just a little bit of a coding experience, and I am familiar with Visual Studio, um, but the level that it's helping me with the coding and how I'm like easy able to get back into the coding has just been and create content, especially with the things that I don't like doing. Um, it has been really helpful for me. Um, so I'm really excited to take this forward and see like, well, where I, would be really interested 3 months from now to look back and be like, whoa, this is what I created, the first week. And then now that we actually have agents and tools and we're connecting to sites and using our own agents to solve things is it's pretty interesting. So I'm excited. Uh, and this is technically the first sprint that I've ever been a part of, actually. That was quote unquote called, an actual sprint. So
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's one of the things I very much learn by doing and looking forward to starting to unpack some of this AI agents and really rubber meets the road on some stuff. So, one of the things we've got too, and let me see where the working groups is here on our content
I
tab.
can give you a quick use case too. So while you're figuring that out, so TrueCat, right? She works in the research department in Australia in Western Sydney University. One of the things that she does each year is she gets researchers to write a case study about how their real research is having real world impacts. Um, and then there's like a contest where these case studies are reviewed by other people in the university whose job it isn't to read this stuff and do this case study. They're doing it completely as volunteers to kind of support the research in the university. It's really hard for TrueCat to find these people because she's got to reach out to other departments. She's got to find people in other departments who don't know the researchers who's creating the case studies, because then that's like an unbiased review of the case study. And then, of course, the case studies themselves, often she needs to go back and forth with the researcher on how to write a good case study and how to actually demonstrate and report on the real world impact. Because, so a research assistant is actually one of the categories types that are already in programmed into ELIZA. And so with TrueCat, that's one of the things that we want to test and figure out is, can we give an agent uh, can a can an agent write the case study or help develop the case study that the researcher writes? Can the agent then assess the case studies for its real world impact and then and rate so that there's an unbiased review of the case studies in the competition that's its own event, as well, each year. So TrueCat's actually kind of excited to go back to work next week. She's always, you know, but that's a simple, and the case studies and research is also private, not public yet. So having an internal AI agent in the university that can read through this material without publishing it or giving public access to the research is, one of the specs or requirements of this use case. So that's one of the things that as we're testing these out, um, I'm going to build an Eliza research assistant for TrueCat so that she can um, start testing that stuff out and training her agent.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned research because I don't know if we talked about that on a previous working group, but that was something that I already had some notes here. So that's what wanting to do our third working group next week for setting up a research assistant AI using Eliza. So Yonks will let us meet for this next week. So next week, right now, we're planning to have two working groups, and this is one of the things that I want to get a lot better at. And this is one of the things too, talking about just for us to get better at as ambassadors. One of the cool workflow things, and let me find that because I love creating economic incentives. So one of the ways that we can do that, and we're going to be baking in economic incentives up and down throughout the entire process, but Luma has a built-in event referrals, and this is something that we can probably create a reward, like a financial reward right now, since we are bootstrapping startup. It will be a retroactive reward, but just thinking out loud here, whatever the dollar amount, we can take that and have some discussion. But I prefer operating on a weekly basis. This is again week number 2 of 2025. And we're going to conclude and that's another thing too, we were talking a little bit about before we came live, is automating our weekly summary from a content standpoint using the AI agents as well. So, what are the other things? And I'm going to put a
So I'm
timestamp.
using
Go ahead, Ernest.
I use a Notebook LM. So in Notebook LM, you basically create a lot of little agents. Each one is a notebook. So you got to have like a real small specific task essentially. So for my notebooks, I have a social media generator. I have an interviewer that has knowledge bases, so it's like, okay, give me a bunch of interview questions to interview me about my experience with uh, uh, installing Eliza. And then it kicked me out a bunch of interview questions. I have a code cleaner, a blog post writer, and then I have a notebook where I'm developing where there's a YouTube channel. I'm going to take a whole year's worth of their YouTube channels, put videos, and put those into as source documents, and then try to produce a 1 to 2 hour podcast based off of those years worth of videos that they've been doing, 50, 30, 50 videos through the year. So the 2024 recap video is another one of the notebooks LMs that I have created. And so that's what I've been using. Each one of those are essentially an agent, although none of them's job is to like take the information and do something with it. It's more about the task of cleaning up or writing or giving me questions to ask myself.
And just out of curiosity, Ernest, how long have you been using Notebook LM?
A week, not even a week.
That's amazing. And this is the kind of thing that I would absolutely encourage you to work on creating a tools working group. And then that's something that we can amplify throughout AIagents.box. And this is just me putting it out to the universe, is that we're really through what we're building here, wanting to help aspiring content creators use how to leverage AI tooling, and even more importantly, be an early adopter with AI agents to get this process streamlined. Because the earlier that you adopt the smarter that your AI agent is going to evolve with you as you continue to grow as a content entrepreneur. And that's one of the things I want to just shill a little bit here. My future buddy Joe, we will likely go to his Content Entrepreneur Expo event. But that's a crowdsourced book that he created. Tyler and I went to Content Entrepreneur in Cleveland in 2024, and that's one of the events that we are prioritizing going to in 2025. So anyway, I'm gonna just make note of that. Encouraging Ernest to do a breakout tools working group for Notebook LM. All right. So, one of the things I love to do is to be respectful of everyone's time. We have 7 minutes of this hour left. One of the things that I'm wanting to bring up, and I'll work on loading that in another tab here, but I just want to stop talking a minute and let anybody else, Tyler, Ernest, or Mark, chime in some thoughts as far as what you would like to see us talk about here in our office hours tomorrow or Sunday, or just thoughts on your mind regarding AI agents in general.
The question I have for the agent that you're working on using Eliza, is that programming or do you use prompts in order to train the agent?
Let me see if I can screen share real quick. I can show you.
Yeah, absolutely, Ernest. I'm going to stop share. I don't think I'll have to do anything else, but over to you.
Yeah, let's see. Share screen. So, get rid of that, that, that. So what I do is, and this is installed on my drive. If I go into my documents, I got an AI folder. This Eliza folder is the source docs for the Eliza OS, which means, and then I can create multiple characters. So I go to I open up the program folder in WSL, which is a Linux wrapper for the PowerShell, command prompt screen that's in Windows. So if you're a Mac user, I think I don't know, not quite sure how this works, but for Windows, you need to do this in Linux. And then if I go to my Notion real quick, I got my let's see, I probably went to the wrong Notion. This thing is I just having problems seeing the top of my stuff here. In my Notion, I have the command prompt. It's like PNPM start. Yeah, PNPM start is the code. So this part actually, okay, so I'm in the wrong folder. I got to open up the Eliza folder, and then you have all these, uh, you know, coding docs associated with that. So I open this up in WSL. Now I can run the start. So this will take like 5 minutes to run. And when it runs well, without any errors, um, then it gives me this loads up Eliza or whatever agent. If you just use start, it loads up the default character. If I do like start, uh, I can start a specific agent. I can also start multiple agents. So this is like starts the agent. Then it gives me, because I'm doing this on my local computer, it gives me a link to the my local computer, which I open up, and it gives me a web browser interface to communicate with the agent that it's starting. And then currently, in the Telegram, I dropped the images last night, and I'll put this into the blog post today. But I had your normal web page, no branding, super clean, and it just had the chat window in the bottom. And I was able to type in my questions, but then I ran into an error with my, I think with my ports, essentially. I think because I'm communicating with my local machine, I have a setting on my firewall. Because basically, right, my computer communicates out of a port into another computer's, or my own computer on the network port. And I think one of those ports is closed. But this pulls up the prompt. And in uh, Visual Studio, so you can see by default, it has a few characters already created with different personalities. And in packages, core, source, no, where is it? I think it's in characters type. No, maybe that was an agent, client, docs, nodes, packages, core, source. Where is my? There's a types. Where's my actual? Client, docs, packages. This could be. Da, 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 da. This might be it. It might not. But anyways, in the types, in the types file, it's the file that has all your like connections to Web3 and everything. So essentially what happens, you can see on the left-hand side is so like here's a character, here's my Taylor character, very long bio. There's lore. So your agents have specific lore. There's a knowledge base that gets loaded into your agents. You have example questions. So, like, if you ask Taylor, what's your favorite way to spend a Sunday? It's going to say something like researching Web3 and AI with your friends from their van parked at the beach. Right. Whereas Eliza's going to say that it likes to spend its Sunday in expensive coffee shops judging people about their fonts. Right. And then so these types of responses based on the knowledge base and the history, the lore of the agent informs the reasoning behind the decisions that the AI agent makes. And you can do, a lot of different examples of this. But so when you're thinking about the AI agent that you want to design, you need the more detailed that all this becomes, the more your agent will be capable, will have the agency to do the tasks that you want it to do, whether it's for entertainment purposes or actual real tasks. So like the topics also, I I I have climate science instead of what Eliza already had. Professional writing because I want it to be able to write things, research models. I want it to know about sea level rise, permaculture design, electronic music production, right? Like all this I can change, but if I want it to create social media, I need to give it a background reference on the social media topics, marketing, etc. And then of course you can develop the style. Um, when it's chatting with people, use clever callbacks. I think Eliza hates emojis. So Eliza will never use emojis and she'll rant about it. When you're crafting posts, use ironic observations, maintain intellectual edge. These are all things that develop and informs the agent so that it can do the task the way you want it to do it, right? And then of course, lots of types. Here we go. So in types, let's kind of start at the top. This code is all well commented too, for the most part, as far as I can tell. One of the things, so it has access to different models, AI models. So OpenAI, like it's got 20, 15 models here, right? A cache network. So that's crypto. That should, if you've been in crypto, you've probably heard of the Akash network, Live Peer. So I think that's interesting because I'm not sure what Akash and Live Peer has been doing in AI, but having access to Live Peer means that we should be able to have an agent essentially create content and host through Live Peer, which gives you a whole decentralized Web3 way to do video, right? Everything from hosting the video in a decentralized manner to, monetizing your content like a YouTuber. And depending on how you're using, you might need to use the name, or you might need to use, the lowercase version of a name, depending on how you're calling it in functions. And I think this also has, so the clients that it can connect to. So it can connect to Discord, Direct. I'm not even sure what Direct is, but Twitter, Telegram, Farcaster, Lens. Not sure what Auto is, Slack. So this is where when plugins get built, there will be there's somewhere in here there's a Discord plugin which gives your agent the ability to interact with Discord. To log in, you got to give its password, you got to give its username. If you're using 2FA credentials, which obviously in the beginning, I'm like not going to do any of this with 2FA credentials, but you got to pass the 2FA credentials. So does that mean that your agent has to have its own like Google Authenticator app? I'm not sure, right? But this is how the different clients and different plugins get brought into your agent so that it can do things. So if you want an agent to be able to go onto what was the popular no fee Robinhood, right? And buy Bitcoin every time, buy $100 worth of Bitcoin every time there's a 20% dip in the price, right? You would pass that strategy and then pass the Robinhood credentials, and then it would be able to go, it would know when Bitcoin has a 20% price correction, and then it would go to Robinhood and buy Bitcoin or whatever GME stock that you're interested in. Um, when you give it goals, like how does it need to know how to write a blog post? Well, it has functions in here. Again, this is part of a plugin. When people design plugins, they don't just design the ability to connect with the platform, but how do you write a Twitter post? A Twitter post has parameters that you got to adhere to. And so those functions all have to be in, um, and templates have to be in your plugin. But you can see here, it can do it for Telegram, Farcaster, etc. And memories, right? So your AI agent as is born with memories, but it also builds memories so that because when it encounters a new instance and it's like, okay, no, that's not a picture of a bus, that's a picture of a bicycle, like the captchas, then it can do either regression or like comparison functions, which is what most AI does. Um, and essentially, what these agents are is a combination of the language model and then the logic model. And then those go into your AI agent. Um, and then you give it plugins, and then it can do uh, the different things. I was just gonna see real quick if it has the like where you put in the private key and stuff. Uh, I have to find it at a different time. I'm not sure when it is, but it's another coding page similar to this, except it's just like Twitter login, Twitter password. You got to go into the source code on Twitter and pull up like some of the API information so that it can connect to my Twitter or the Twitter that I give it to connect to. So that's the kind of and now if we go,
I'm gonna just plug real quick, Ernest, that this is exactly the kind of thing that we're gonna be doing in our upcoming tools working group number 2 here at AIagents.box, where that entire session, that 1 hour tools working group, is going to be unpacking Eliza. And we're 10 minutes already over, and want to again be respectful of everybody's time. We can keep on going. I have no problem with that, but that's up to you, Ernest and Mark.
well, I'll let this continue to run. It's probably going to take a few more minutes, but as soon as it runs, I can pull up the client. So at the end, when we close out, I'll check back in on this and then show you what the client, the web page looked like. That's the interface with Taylor.
Nice. And I want to real quick before we do close, I'm going to go ahead. Can you stop your share so I can fire up my end? I don't even know if you have to do that with me being the host.
Yeah. Or
Let me just click on the share. It might
screen
replace the
sharing,
current share.
stop share. There we go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then so
Shit.
too, the other thing I'm interested in is because I'm a content producer. I've always been trying to figure this out is avatars. Um, and so currently, where is it? See, I'm already getting way too many.
Well, and while you're looking for that, I've got on my screen here Fleek.xyz, and this is one what I would say is enterprise grade solution for where that's currently my top choice, but I would like some other thoughts as far as potential service providers, enterprise grade service providers that we could potentially deploy these AI agents on. And you can see that Fleek is so heavily leaning into the AI agents narrative already that it's on their top of the fold. So that's something that I will likely reach out to them if they have that opportunity as far as exploring. Because looking over here at the pricing, they have a contact us workflow. I'm likely going to personally and through an ecosystem brand onboard into a pro plan. And really, like the opportunity with the enterprise plan is just to understand, and you can see that that starts at $1,000 a month. I'm not sure what sort of traction that we would need to have in order for that to make sense. But everything in free plan plus, I mean, it already includes unlimited sites, unlimited custom domains, and an unlimited team members. The main difference is that we would have enterprise SLAs, so that's where we would obviously need to be doing. But I really believe that we could create such a fabulous user experience, user interface through myira.fund that I don't think that it would be unrealistic for us to potentially onboard 100,000 people, customers into what we're building by the end of 2025. And that's one of the things really looking forward to do through this 180-day sprint. And it's really more of a marathon. 180 days is a long time. And again, just want to put this out to the universe. Um, for anybody that wants to create content, learn this, be an early adopter of AI agents, it's going to be a huge narrative unfolding in 2025. But did you want to close this out, Ernest? Is your thing over there done running?
No, it's really close.
All right. Well, like I said, that's something that we will be unpacking during our upcoming, and I'll make a announcement on our Telegram and just one other plug real quick. If you go to aiagents.box or aiagentsbox.org, here we've got you can our link tree. Let me refresh this here real quick. And it's got the blog and newsletter, the event calendar, the Telegram. Just added this the other day, the Google Docs. And if anybody would like to have a one-on-one conversation with me, my calendar link is here. Would absolutely love to collaborate to see what you might be able to contribute. But this is an open invitation to the world at large. We very much build in public and really wanting to create a cooperative ownership model. I'm not going to unpack that, but a huge cooperative fan before I was Web3 and on-chain fanboy. I was and still am a cooperative fan. But does anybody want to? I'm going to stop the share, and this is an open invitation for anyone to give us some closing thoughts before we bring day 5 office hours to a wrap here. And again, office hours, same time tomorrow, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Saturday and Sunday we'll be doing day 6 and day 7. But I'm going to stop talking. If anybody wants to chime in, here you go. All right. Well, I didn't see anybody chiming in some thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and bring this to an end. Like I said, going to be creating the lettuce meat for 4 specific opportunities. The pre-launch for myira.fund Saturday and Sunday. That'll be a separate conversation than for the um, ongoing AI agents.box office hours. But then also we've been talking quite a lot about Eliza. The that's one of 4 on-chain agency frameworks that exist. And I'm going to work on doing some fun stuff to kind of visualize that using Hatstree and a potential template sort of dynamic. I'm not sure exactly how that we may use Hat's protocol for representing agents via a visualization, but I do have enough appreciation. And Ernest fired up a screen share. Here, over to you, Ernest.
Yeah. So it's it's not the Taylor yet, but so once I have Taylor, there's a couple things I want to do. One is, so this is on the AI protocol. You essentially buy this pod NFT, which is the environment, and then you put your NFT, you fuse it with the pod, and then it animates it. I'm not sure if this is the like default background for all the animations or whatever, but of course, if you got the source code to change the environment, you can do so. But so bringing NFT into one of these pods, fusing them, and then connecting the AI agent to the pod so that it can be a video expression instead of just a text-based expression. Um, and then the
I got to ask real quick. I saw there an open sea link. Is the vision of this is where people can create tokenized um, things and then sell them on an open market like OpenSea?
yeah, so it would be an NFT for I'm thinking for sure. And then through its platform, it even has that you get all the digital rights associated with your NFT so that you can do some IP stuff. Then the other one is these characters. Let me expand this a little bit.
Well, and just thinking out loud here, Ernest, this would be a great opportunity to just carve out, like, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or whatever you choose. If you wanted to do a deeper dive on each one of these opportunities that you're exploring, this is, again, me encouraging you that I would help facilitate and amplify that here with what we're building with this AI agents.box, our on-chain community for AI.
Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of let me run this again. So this is the client run now. Start client. Yeah, no, but I just wanted to give you the preview and then yeah, whatever we need to do to schedule so that I can go more into depth on this. Again, it kind of hinges on once I get Eliza running, then I can try those different uh
Yeah,
like
and
it takes
for
a week even for the fusing to happen to fuse the two NFTs. And right now, typical Web3 problem, I'm having problems using Polygon to transfer their Ali token on Polygon into credits on their website so that I can spend credits to do the fusing. Um, I didn't want to try it with my ETH on the ETH network because of the gas fees, which aren't too expensive right now, but they're still better on Polygon. So, typical problems. I'm waiting on that platform for it to get its product together. Um, the other thing is I do have Unreal Engine, but it might take me like a month to, eventually I want to use my Unreal Engine to build my own environment. Then I can create my own character and put Eliza into my own character. Their AI 16Z YouTube channel a couple days ago, they just started producing 1 minute videos that recap the activity in their GitHub, right? So they're uh, monitoring their GitHub. They're just like we got show notes that the Fathom produces. Then they take that, they put it into an AI. The AI generates the three scripts for the three different agents that are on their show, and then it does a 1 minute dialogue, and then they have some type of video generator, or maybe they even hand do the like scenes and action of the agents.
And
So
real quick, Ernest, speaking of GitHub, this is one of the things that I would absolutely love into our workflow to automate surrounding the daily blog post and the weekly summary content opportunity. So that's something that if you want to find out what that could look like, because that's another way that we can create some reputation and or attribution in a industry best practices using GitHub there. And I will, since I said best practices, find, implement, and refine as some ethos. But looking here at the time, we're already 20 minutes after. Let's wrap this up here. I've got a lot of stuff to do asynchronously, like getting some
yeah.
of this content created manually until we get the workflow automation using our AI agents, which, as you can see, are very much under construction. And it's just more for us to take some of the no code opportunities and deploy some of the existing tools. And we've talked about Eliza, but that's just one of four agency frameworks that we're going to be unpacking via office hours, working groups here on AIagents.box over. And again, this is just day 5 of a 180-day sprint, but we're also going to be launching real world products and services here. Talked about myira.fund. That personally solves a problem for myself, Yonk's team, and Tyler. But any other thoughts before we shut this down here?
Now you can just see this is the screen. So the chat screen at the bottom, you can see it's grayed out in the bottom right hand corner because it's thinking right now. It's trying to figure out a response to my question. But what's going to happen is I'm not going to get a response, and then I'm going to go to these the command prompts, and then this is going to be loaded up with red text because the error that it throws. So that's yeah, see, bam. So I'm getting some kind of gateway timeout. Um, you can see here that was my question given in the log. So it's what I'm going to be doing the rest of the day. I'll probably be sitting in the voice channel of my Discord. If anybody wants to stop in and yeah, check out. I got a couple videos to rewatch to make sure that I'm getting stuff entered in correctly. And then the other, lastly, thing is like there's the videos that I'm using to install Eliza. So far, it's like, the documentation on how to install Eliza is wonky. So do it this way. So I haven't tried from scratch using the documentation of Eliza to start it up and see what
Well,
errors
and
that throws.
here's another thing too. Containerizing through Docker is already an industry best practices for making this easy. And this is one of the things that we should explore is if there's existing Docker containers that we could potentially deploy very easily in an environment like Flake, because I'm more looking through how that we can architect something that's enterprise grade with what we're building here. And I'm looking forward to having more conversations about us being very thoughtful and intentional about architecting our AI agency framework here using best practices from an enterprise grade standpoint. So, and that's where I'm going to bring some of my expertise with my IT background as a 20-year career professional as a network engineer. So looking forward to having more conversations. Very, very excited, as I have mentioned and will continue to mention, going to be leaning heavily into myira.fund to get that launched with an MVP. And I'm really excited to see how quickly we can create an MVP for that. But all right, well, thank you, everybody. This was a fabulous office hours conversation. Glad that you could join us for the first time, Mark Law 01. And hopefully, you all will be back on Saturday and Sunday, same time, same place. And anyway, have a good rest of your Friday.
Yep,
Thank
yep.
you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mark. Nice seeing you again, Mark.